Again, Bradford.
I know.
Exactly.
That's tragic. Ooh. Well, we'll start the video with a big thank you to Bradford Ackerman once again. Wait, he disappeared. Oh, there he goes. Just screen shifting around. I'll start at least the recording with thank you for doing that. We did a little name that theme with Bradford Ackerman. You can catch him at endino.com on Instagram most days at 6. And he's leading us in to our happy hour with Anna and Robbie of Ritual Chocolate. And I am so excited to see everyone here. Welcome to all of you who are joining us. Hope you have your chocolate ready and are excited to taste some chocolate. Let's see. And part of what we're doing this as part of Bar Cacao's Meet Your Makers series to launch the new Makers Marketplace and Retailers Marketplace on my website on Bar Cacao. So it's a good place. It's always been my intention that Bar Cacao is about community and about sharing craft chocolate. And actually my mission is to drive the craft chocolate movement in a positive direction. And I need you all on board and, you know, loving this stuff as much as I do. So thank you for helping support that mission. I always like to do it on this end of the supply chain because it's tons of fun to taste the chocolate. What better way to support, right? The chocolate making is the hard part. So I leave that to the geniuses like Anna and Robbie who know what they're doing. Anyways, just a reminder that, you know, there's about a half a dozen chocolate makers now on Bar Cacao that offer actually a discount using the code of Bar Cacao. And I'm working on developing, you know, more and more makers to incorporate and build the marketplace over time. So stay tuned, and maybe more tasting events too. To get you acquainted with the Zoom dynamics right now, I did put up a little poll. You can do that at any time or throughout. I forgot a question about which one's your favorite. I'll remind me to ask at the end. I forgot to put that in there, which one of these. But there's some questions there. Also, chat is enabled. Please feel free to chat with everyone or amongst yourselves if you like. And I'm going to tend to have people on mute. It helps with the audio experience. Also a little bit of focus. So, you know, we're going to taste through 5 chocolates. It goes really pretty fast. And so while we're doing that, we're going to stay a little bit more. We'll spend time on each chocolate, and I would probably say, I don't want to make up like super duper rules here, but like just as a guideline, you know, like maybe more questions related to the chocolate itself that we're tasting while we're tasting the chocolate, so we can kind of flow through the chocolate. And then we'll certainly have a little bit of time afterwards for more general questions. And so that's going to be kind of how we roll through that. But now let's get a little bit more into, oh, actually, yeah, there's the poll in the chat. What else do we got? Really quick, just a little quick intro on how to taste, and maybe I'll talk about what to pair with your things. How to taste, the simple distinction, if you're not already aware, I just kind of try and keep it really basic. There's a difference between tasting and eating, right? You know, like, and there's lots of different ways to taste and eat even. So with chocolate, the general consensus is to engage all of your senses. Even your eyes to examine the chocolate, and then your ears, you can snap the chocolate and listen to it. You can even rub the bar and get a sense of the texture of the bar. And then giving it a good smell, getting the aromas next before you go ahead and taste it. I have a cheeky little expression because it is Bar Cacao and we're doing happy hour. I tell people to suck on it all the time. So that's my way of telling people to taste chocolate. It's meant to say that, you know, you really want to enjoy the melting experience. Anna and Robbie actually have a much classier way of saying it. They actually had on their original bars, savor slowly. Which is really what, you know, you want to do. You want to get a sense of the textures and the flavors, and the texture will evolve, of course, as the chocolate melts, and the flavors will too as the chocolate melts. So you want to give yourself a little bit of time, your mouth a little bit of time to enjoy all the sensations of each chocolate, and that experience can go for I don't know, maybe even 5 minutes. In terms of pairing, I sent out a little email, and pairing really it's happy hour. So, you know, have a little beverage there of any kind, pretty much. If you like it, that's really the most important part. Lots of suggestions. I'll actually start engaging with you guys, Anna and Robbie. That's Anna Davies and Robbie Stout of Richville Chocolate there. And you guys are in your cafe?
We are, yeah. We actually have our origin wall behind us. We always think that's a fun backdrop. So you can kind of see, but
oh yeah,
you can kind of see a map. You know? We're covering it a little bit, but yeah,
that's super cute.
Nice.
And you guys got your beverages ready.
I know. Well, you said that when you did the tasting with Dick Taylor, they had a whole cheese board. So I got some cheese, I got some crackers, and then I actually made a chocolate old-fashioned.
Oh my God!
Which I've been making. So you line the rim with grated chocolate, and then put an orange peel and these amazing mole bitters in there, and a little bit of whiskey, and it's pretty nice.
And not to overplug, but this is part of our subscription box next month.
Is it? Wait a minute, what do you mean? Cocktails?
Yeah, so our July subscription box comes with the chocolate bitters that are used in this, as well as the ground chocolate.
Yeah, the nibs.
The nibs, actually.
Oh, actually. Yeah.
One or the other, either way.
Yeah, because the whiskey, you infuse the whiskey with nibs for 24 hours, so it brings all the nice nibby flavors, and so it's yummy.
So chocolate old fashioned. Think like, you know, those orange chocolates that are like, you know, they're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to think so. The things you break and you have like the orange slices.
Chocolate orange.
The old fashioned is kind of like that because it's orange, chocolate, whiskey. It's good.
Yeah.
So,
recommended.
Nice. Well, I guess on that, we should definitely happy hours. Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Yeah.
Happy hour. Cheers to everybody.
Cheers. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Yeah.
Delicious.
I bet. Making me jealous.
Robbie's already finished his, so.
Good. All right. Getting the juices flowing. So I don't know. Yeah. Should we start talking chocolate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So we actually, as hopefully you're all aware at this point, we're going to taste through the single origin collection, right? This beautiful box set.
Yeah.
I said I want to taste, but then I'm like really looking at what I have here. Just FYI before we do, because they have these other box sets too. They have a box set of their mountain line, their Utah mountain line collection. I want to get the naming right here, right? And that's got these awesome bars. Right now, I love them all, but like right now the s'mores one is really speaking to me, maybe because it's summer and I want to like go camping and all that kind of stuff. But actually vegan s'mores, which is interesting, right?
Yeah.
Most s'mores are marshmallows, which aren't vegan.
Right. Well, actually we caramelize the sugar in the chocolate to get that kind of burnt sugar flavor, so
it works. And then there's also, if you want to go like super big, there's mountain lime collection. This is actually missing 2 bars, but don't. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Ooh.
Yeah.
Definitely not when you received it, but.
No. Came 17 bars. There's 17 bars in here. You guys have 17 bars. You guys started with what? Well, with 1.
We had 1 bar for you, then 2
the
bars.
Costa Rica. Yeah. Do you want to know what else is fun? Oh, well, I can't find it, so I'm going to find, oh yeah, the Costa Rica.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, that was our old packaging.
Do a close-up of that.
Yeah, that was the first bar. Oh,
yeah.
I missed that bar. But yeah, we don't work with Costa Rican beans anymore, but we went down to the farm and it was great. It was actually Rainforest Alliance certified and beautiful earthy notes, so.
Yeah, that's the 2009 harvest.
Savor slowly.
Savor slowly.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
Yep.
Do you know that this is actually?
Wow. Just put that on eBay for like.
I don't know if I should open it now. I'm not going to open it now, but this is actually chocolate. And you guys do such a, actually, I'm not going to open it now. I'm not going to taste it now, but I want to see like what it looks like
Yeah, because that bar probably from 2013.
It was made in 2012. This is when because it's dated 2013, December 2013.
Testing out tempering.
So this bar was made in 2012.
Wow.
And yeah, it's bloomed. I'm not surprised. I would definitely take the hit on that, but it's been pretty well stored. But
yeah.
Oh, I'm eating it later.
Not bad.
Okay, so this is one that's gone forever. You'll never, ever, 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 ever taste it. Unless you come to California and share my bar with me before I eat it. But the second bar of Rituals was Madagascar.
Yeah.
And
we'll have it today.
Yeah, we're gonna start. Let's start with it.
All right.
So yeah, if you all want.
Okay, the tasting order. We're gonna taste the rainbow.
Yeah.
Sure. We'll do. Should we do Roy G. Biv or?
Yeah.
Yes. So that means we're starting with the Madagascar. Start with the
reddish color.
Yeah.
R.
Yes, that's why you chose red for the packaging. Is that right?
Blue. Oh my gosh, it's already in Roy G. Biv. Look at that.
Well, that's because, well, you know, there was a little birdie told somebody.
We had a little bit of discussion. Yeah, so this is a really fun one to start with. I mean, you may notice if you've just started tasting it, but it is so bright and fruity. It's just, we call it the gateway chocolate for people new to craft chocolate, because it really gives you a sense of all the different flavors you can get from cacao.
And when you open up your package, you want to tear the top off.
Yeah.
I always recommend just like putting your nose in the package.
I say stick your face in it. I mean,
yeah, like
I know, it's so sensory. It's so great just to take a moment.
That's where all the aroma is. It's all locked in there in the package.
Right, exactly.
That's like the easiest way to smell it, for sure. And then nice little small bite.
Yeah. Or not.
And then also notice the color as well. I think these beans make for kind of a reddish chocolate, so you might notice that. Yeah.
So all of the hard sort of citrus and berry flavor you get is from this origin, meaning like the genetics, the soil, the terroir, and even the way it was fermented. You're going to get all these, fruit flavors in the chocolate, which
pretty special.
Even now, today, we've been doing this for 10 years straight. When you really take the time to taste a piece of chocolate with intention and taste all those flavors, it's still really it still blows my mind.
I know the flavors you can get. I mean, it's just such a great bar, such great beans. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about what chocolate used to be, it used to be one flavor, bitter, chocolatey, kind of straightforward, like one note. But then to come along and taste something like Madagascar, which has so much acidity and fruit flavor. And I think my favorite thing about the Madagascar bar is actually the kind of peanut flavor that's sort of a secondary note. If I really think about it, I can trick myself into believing it's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with the peanut butter, the raspberry jam, sort of the breadiness.
That was kind of going to be my comment about the bar in particular. That and some of you were on the Dick. I believe one or two of you were on the Dick Taylor call where we also tasted a Madagascar chocolate. So if you've tasted that, or if you've tasted honestly any Madagascar, they all have this tart citrusy note. It's pretty much indelible, also because it's all coming from the same plantation. I like to say everybody's got a Madagascar because it's been the longest running reliable source of interest in cacao, and that is it's just really, really, really hard to find a good reliable source of cacao. But the peanut for you guys' Madagascar, it is that peanut note that I really love about yours, exactly for that reason. Because a lot of times the citrus can be so dialed up, you don't really notice it even. But yours really definitely comes across like that peanut butter and jelly one. Yeah.
And what we've loved through the years about these beans is, there's that consistency that's there. It's really kind of bright and fruity always. But each harvest is just a little bit different. So sometimes it'll be a bit more dried fruit cherry, and other times it'll have just more of a really citrusy pop. So it's fun to, yeah.
And if anybody is getting
oh,
yeah, it's the old
and that's our original. We used to put animals in the package, so.
Yep, this is the original Madagascar. You can see 2011 harvest. Ritual is good about putting the harvest on their bars too, which is interesting. So this was the 2011 harvest, and on your bars you should be having the. Wait a minute, my samples, I could be off. Mine is 2018.
Yeah, that's about right.
That sounds right.
Is that you guys all have 2018 harvest?
Well, I have 2019 here,
but that's a newer bar.
It's a newer
bar.
bar.
We might have just switched recently, so yeah.
I might have to hit you up for more samples, fresh samples.
So if you guys are tasting, I would say in the chat box, you could maybe put like what your aroma sort of notes are and maybe what your tasting notes are, just to sort of see.
Anything you're getting.
Yeah, if you feel like sharing.
Oh yeah, someone just mentioned the animals still there. So we didn't want to quite part with the animals in the new packaging, so we put them on just on the top, like a little animal icon.
The lemur is still there.
Yeah.
Very, very small.
Still there.
Yeah.
Great.
That's so cute. Yeah. So that's just that's one of your classic chocolates. It's the first one you made. And one interesting change that is definitely worth talking about. You used to be straight up a 2-ingredient single origin chocolate maker for a handful, a few years. And that was definitely kind of the way things were rolling. People, I feel like, it was like, it's hard to branch out when you're still focusing on making, getting everything up and running, and also focusing on making how to strictly make really good chocolate with just 2 ingredients.
Right.
But also you have a lot of history with, we can talk about the Move and Steve Davies and and some of that might come in, but when you moved, Anna and Robbie started it in Colorado.
Denver.
Yeah, and then when did you move?
We moved, we left Denver February 1st, 2015. I opened in Park City March 18th, 2015.
Yeah, it's been 5 years.
5 years here.
Half your time has been there.
How's it been here? Oh, it's fantastic. We love it. We love it.
And it's been half of the time you've been making chocolate.
Yeah.
Half of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we love it.
Time flies. But when you got there, that was when you started tweaking your process too.
Yeah, I think it was
because of I'm getting at, your original Madagascar, which was 2 ingredients. And
right. I think it was just, we got new machinery. We bought our own equipment. So same style, but different. And I think for us, we were such purists in the beginning, which, isn't a bad thing. We were very focused on, having the flavors show through in the beans. But we kind of realized that, I think it's important just to settle into the style that you want, the mouthfeel that you want. And we just felt like we add a teeny amount of cocoa butter. Yeah. It's like 1%, but for us, we just feel like for the overall experience, for the mouthfeel and melt, we just felt like that was great.
And also when we were in Denver, we were using this little small roll mill that had all sorts of problems. And then we were using this small 90-pound conch. Yeah, the machines are that.
I know, you can see. There you go.
This is the Ritual t-shirt. This is one of my favorite shirts, and it's kind of hilarious because it has examples of this equipment across my chest. So this is a roll mill down here. This one right here, and then where's the conch?
Bottom. Yep.
Oh, bottom.
Our right.
Your bottom.
Your left.
This is kind of hilarious. And this is a conch. Anyways, this is I had to show this off. It's my first Ritual t-shirt.
So we
very informative.
We were using this small conch too, and the thing is when we actually scaled up in the size of our equipment, the actual equipment itself was doing a better job of refining. So the new roll mill was a lot more powerful, a lot more consistent, and we were able to get like a finer texture. But then also, wow, how many layers of ritual?
Oh my gosh. That's
So,
amazing. That's really old school.
and then our new conch was also better at basically refining the chocolate and getting it smoother. So between the two machines, our chocolate got a lot smoother, which actually made the viscosity a lot thicker. So part of the new machinery getting like smoother, finer chocolate meant that the chocolate became thicker as well as it got finer. So that's part of why we ended up adding cocoa butter to some of the chocolate, but not all of it. So we still don't add cocoa butter to Belize and Peru, partly because those are such high cocoa butter beans naturally.
Yeah, so we add the butter to kind of fit the bean profile. So.
But one of the, as you make chocolate finer and finer, one of the downsides is that it starts to get thicker and harder to mold into a bar. So we decided that smooth texture was was really important to us. We didn't want gritty chocolate. So for Madagascar and Ecuador, we decided cocoa butter was an okay thing to add. It's organic, it's fair trade, it's still cacao.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like even the direction that like the two ingredient scene was coming from was, I mean, I think it's more of a practical matter than anything. Like all you need is beans and sugar, and all you need is this tabletop grinder practically, to get started. And then people just kind of feel like that's, of course there's this purist mindset that gets involved, but like chocolate was never really, I mean, Damori did start making 2 ingredient chocolates, like kind of as a point, back in, I think it was the 90s that they started doing 2 ingredient chocolate. But like, it wasn't really how chocolate was made.
Right.
But that's sure with all the antique equipment was because, like it wasn't made in just one little grinder, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
How about we try Mexico?
Yeah, ready for the next.
Yellow one.
This is kind of fun in terms of the tasting order because the Madagascar is the longest running of their single origin bars right now, and Mexico is the newest origin.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Love it. Try.
I was tasting this one, and it was last night, and this one's been, I don't know, like a little bit of a sleeper for me. Like it's growing on me more and more.
It's quite popular.
It is, yeah. I think it's an unusual origin, right? Well, and it's delicious. Everybody's got a Madagascar. It's hard for that to be your number one, I think.
Yeah.
The thing about this chocolate is the flavor isn't anything that's gonna hit you over the head and be like, it's this one strong flavor. Like the Madagascar is really distinct because it's so fruity. It's got that citrus and berry flavor. But then Mexico is really like a delicate chocolate, meaning, it's a high percentage, it's 75% cacao. But from a flavor perspective, it has like a light flavor. And that's actually pretty wild because cacao itself is so strong and so bitter. And the bean itself is just like packed full of flavor. Like if you want to talk about concentration of flavor, I feel like cacao it's got to be up there in the top 3 foods in the world. It's just
complex
concentration of flavor. And so for this bar to be so light and delicate, says a lot about those beans being light and delicate and kind of a little bit nutty, a little bit woody.
I almost get a smokiness as well.
Yeah, and it's just.
And it's still got it's got a brightness to it too.
Yeah, it does. There's definitely a brightness there. It's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah. But this was this part of Mexico was the growing region of cacao during the peak of the Aztec Empire, when they were basically trading cacao for money or for all sorts of things, and it was well known in Europe. And anyone who really knew anything about cacao, this area had this really nice, delicate, light, mild flavor. and it had a reputation back then for being this like high quality cacao. But then over the last 150 years or so, I feel like it kind of fell off the radar a little bit. It wasn't until 2016 or 17 that we got in touch with this brand new co-op down there that was fermenting and processing indigenous, native cacao.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was the first bean from that area that I was, confident to work with. Because up until that point, it was these big sort of industrial style processors that the quality was totally just all over the place, and you didn't know where the genetics were coming from. But this was the most sort of like indigenous flavor I felt like we could find.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was great to kind of tie back into that cacao history, and it's a very small co-op. I think we bought half the harvest.
Yeah, we bought half the harvest the first year.
But no, they're great.
And they were so proud of their first harvest. That they took a photo, and so we put that photo in the package. You guys all have it.
Yeah,
and just a part of the experience. That's great. All these awesome images. The whole the experience more than just the chocolate.
And they were so psyched on that first harvest that they all signed the first bag that they produced. So all the farmers and everybody signed that first bag, and we still have that bag, like hanging up in the office.
Pretty special. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally.
Random story. There was a keychain with a bunch of keys hooked to one of the bags, and I tried to track down. They were like keys, like a keychain, full of keys. And I tried to figure out who it belonged to, but no one claimed it. So I kept it just as a keepsake because it's just funny.
Why not? 6
keys.
Maybe someday you'll go back and visit. Anybody missing their keys?
I know.
Oh my God. There they are. That's awesome. I love. Well, I heard that Soconusco is the first place where it was really cultivated. Although there's a lot of these first place claims, but it really, really is this origin, this region, really goes way back. And I think it's awesome that it's being pulled into the craft chocolate scene. That's part of what's really special about craft chocolate is that we're kind of able to help support and preserve all this really amazing cacao.
Oh, I know, the genetics, right? And yeah,
absolutely. Are we ready for Vicente's stuff?
This was such an exciting one for us when we first tried chocolate from this origin and did test batches of these beans, because up to this point, we had Madagascar, Costa Rica, we tried other beans, and they're all quite fruity, but this chocolate is so rich and earthy. You almost get sort of floral notes, I think, from the kind of Nacional variety, and it's a low cocoa butter bean, so it's quite fudgy in texture, I think. So this is a special chocolate.
Yeah. Do you add the most cocoa butter to this? I mean, it's notorious for being a low-fat bean, and
we do add a little. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should see it when it's in our conch. It's like mud.
It's like it's more like clay. It's just like
mud sounds horrible. But.
Super thick.
Dandelion used to make a 70%, and they had to stop because somebody broke a machine.
Oh yeah, so that would be impossible.
70%. Like the math turns out, if it's a low cocoa butter bean and you're doing it at just 70%, you're just reducing the amount of cocoa butter, which was what allows it to flow.
That would be thick.
And somebody else also, so that's why they make like 85% and they don't temper. Like it's their baking chocolate, and I think part of that is that they don't have to temper it, which I think is kind of funny.
And something to note, I just thought of, which you may have noticed, is that all of our single origins in our line are 75%. So meaning by weight, 25% sugar to 75% cacao. And we really did that because we felt like that was in that window for sort of optimum tasting. I think with a certain amount of sugar, between like 65 to 75, inching up to 80s when you can really get the full flavor profile. But we really wanted you to be able to try them side by side and really see the differences without there being like a big, difference in sugar. But the interesting thing I find is that some do tend to taste sweeter than others. So I don't know if that's something you've noticed so far.
Definitely.
To me, it tastes sweet.
Definitely. Yeah, this one was when Bilbao hit the scene, it used to kind of be referred to as Bilbao, the region. But then Vicente sold his farm, blah 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 blah, and so now it's just Camino Verde, which actually was the name of the farm, but
yeah, I mean originally the farm was in Bilbao. It was an actual farm.
Mm-hmm.
The name of it was Camino Verde, but then in 2016 or 17, when the big earthquake hit Ecuador, the country sort of evaluated its tax system and ended up taxing landowners disproportionately, and it wasn't really viable to keep the farm, so they sold the farm and then retained their fermentory to ferment and dry cacao, and now it's more of a co-op. So there was a big flavor change when they lost their actual farm.
Well, I went down 2 years in a row, a couple of years ago. So I got to hang out with Vicente a couple of times.
Dreamy.
Huh?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So exactly all this stuff, all the transitions he was making, like, no, the farm's gone. Yep, it's just, he's building out a factory and that kind of stuff. But this one's the chocolatiest chocolate for everybody. I mean, and that was the really cool thing when this kind of hit the scene. I mean, it was really exciting to have chocolate that, I mean, like some of the early Madagascar bars almost didn't taste like chocolate because they were so old, like, so this was the one that like people are like, oh yeah, because it's so reminiscent of flavors that we're familiar with. So it was kind of like a hook, and also just gut level satisfying, like.
Absolutely. And this one's a really fun one to bake with, like if you want to make like a rich chocolate cake. I think it's really great to pair with things. I feel like this one works best with like coffee, because it's just quite a clean finish and not very acidic. I think you can pair it more with sort of more acidic things, and it's a great bar.
Yeah, I remember when your Novo coffee bar was made with this.
Oh yeah. Yes, oh my gosh!
Wow.
Look at this. You have more of the old bars than we do.
Actually, I'm gonna open my museum soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. It was this bar was sang because it was just a beautiful chocolate base, and then Kat wants to get into the fun, and this bright coffee that paired so well. So FYI, and there's a new version of it, which uses the blend now.
Yeah.
Right. And it's actually a bit sweeter because it's the mid-mountain, which is a blend for origins, and it's a 70%, so it's a little bit sweeter, which works well with the coffee, I think. So.
Yeah, I recommend. Definitely. So we on to Maya Mountain. Oh, Vicente. I mentioned Vicente, and Vicente Norero is the cacao producer. He, was part of the farm, and then developed his own business, as we were talking about, into cacao production. That's a little bit more like a cooperative, where he sources and ferments and dries the cacao just how he wants. Oh, by the way, he rails against acidity. FYI, I don't know if you know that. Like when I was down there and we're tasting beans and tasting chocolate samples and liquor, and he's like no acidity. He's like anti-acidity, which is perfect because it's the total contrast to all these other ones that generally all have some kind of acidity. I thought that was really interesting.
He's got a great style, and I think for us, when we don't switch up origins very often, we really try and work with someone we believe in and the farm, and we're in it for the long haul. So I think it was really important for us when he was going through his transitions and things that we kind of stuck by him, and he's just a great person to work with and really passionate. So.
I'm gonna, real quick,
Hmm.
share my screen. I'm not super elegant at doing this, but.
Oops. Ooh.
Are you seeing it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we tasted, and now my Zoom windows are a hot mess. But we tasted. You can see that. I think there's both of there's your the 75. I can't see the picture right now. There's just too much going on my screen. But there's the 75%, and there's also the 85%. I think there's 3 of your bars on that table. Am I right?
Amazing.
You see that? Yeah. So yeah, I brought down all these. And that's Vicente. He should be next to me in the brown shirt. Keep calm and eat chocolate. That's a cacao producer, and this is us in Ecuador tasting with some. I have friends in cacao who farm and make chocolate and source cacao as well. So I just thought that was super fun to share that. Yeah, we brought those down, and he was very pleased and very, very proud of that. Let's see stuff to share.
We
okay,
actually have a cool photo of the mayor of Palau tasting our chocolate.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That kind of stuff is always so much fun. It's so satisfying and rewarding. Like, they send off this cacao, and it's like, well, they got to come up to the States to taste it for the most part, or somebody's got to bring it down. It doesn't travel to the tropics very well, you know?
Right.
Absolutely.
So Belize, let's do it. This is a 2-ingredient chocolate because it's really high in cocoa butter, naturally. You all have your own bars, but I'm going to
Sure.
This one's really awesome because it's has a really sort of deep sort of layers of flavor. You get some fruit, you get some chocolate, you get earthiness, you get dried fruit, you get nuttiness, and depending on that point in time when you're tasting it, you'll get a whole variety of flavor. And I think because of that, I think all these bars are my favorite in one way or another.
Yeah.
But in terms of having like a really full, just broad flavor profile.
Balanced.
Yeah, it's balanced. I think Belize is my favorite.
Yeah. And they work really hard, I think, with the fermentation and drying to have a consistency of flavor. And they've come a long way because we've also worked with them for a long time. And they produce great quality.
Yeah. You guys want to see a couple of pictures of Belize?
Ooh, we actually went down last year.
Did you?
Oh, great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It went. Well, let's see if I can screen share again.
That's so good. Raise your hand if you think that's so good. Yeah.
Did you meet this guy?
I don't think so.
No.
No, but I wish we did.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, he's awesome. Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's good chocolate.
Oh my God, this Zoom window is such a. Let me see if I can.
Uh-oh.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, cut test.
Yeah, we did a cut test down there.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't there anymore, was he?
This actually might have even been in a different. This is 2013, and I think they may have even moved. They started a nursery. These drying beds were right by a river, which ended up being a real problem. Like, trying to dry things next to a water source.
Yeah, they've moved it.
Up working out all that well. That's true.
It's in a different location now. But yeah, that's a good chocolate.
Yeah, and I like how it evolves. Sort of fruity, earthy, nutty.
Nice long aftertaste. Yeah, it stays with you.
Yeah, and the power of suggestion definitely works on me with the tobacco note.
Yeah.
The back of the bar.
Funny.
Like that's that note. That's that kind of interesting mid-low range note, as I call it.
Right. But it's a good one. Well, the funny thing is sometimes people pick up the bar and they don't realize they're tasting notes and they're like, you put tobacco in the chocolate? Yeah, that's a great note. Yeah. And that's a good to pair with things. We're having some cheese. I love to pair Belize with cheese.
Oh yeah, what cheese?
This is like a soft goat cheese.
Mm.
But believe it or not, when I've done cheese pairings in the past, my favorite pairing has been Taleggio with the Madagascar. Taleggio is quite a sort of sticky cheese, and it works really well with Madagascar. So give it a try if you. Yeah, you can get it in like Whole Foods and things.
Cheese is like a big deal with pairing with chocolate. It really has become a big.
Because of the texture, the softness, the melt, it's so sensory. I know I'd actually love to do an online chocolate cheese pairing. If you guys would be interested, that would be really fun. Yeah.
Yes, totally. That would be amazing.
And it's like so many other pairings where it's like what you think in your head will go together so often is different when you're actually trying different things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising. I remember when I was working with, well, she was somewhere in the sommelier process. But you know, she was really all like, oh my God, we totally got to work together. And I was like, okay, yeah, definitely. I'm down with, you know, I'll play with chocolate with just about anybody, honestly, you know? So, yeah, and we had a couple of meetings and she just had like, I mean, she had so much wine. She even had like that little thing you inject into a cork so you can pour, I don't know if you've seen these, but you can get a little bit of wine out without opening the bottle, so you can keep your rare wines for forever and a day, and you put in asparagine gas or whatever the heck it is.
Wow.
Yeah, so like, and you know, I was like, I was really surprised that she was so enthusiastic about pairing because I think it's really hard to pair with wine.
Oh, it's very hard.
Yeah. And the most notable thing for me was really when, you know, there was some where it was just kind of like confusing, or it was like, okay, or, you know, maybe I could see that it worked. And it definitely was possible. But the thing I remember the most was a clash. Like it was just some Spanish wine. I don't remember which chocolate and which wine, but I was just literally like, oh, that is actually awful in my mouth. Like, I know I like the wine, I know I like the chocolate, and when they come together in my mouth, they absolutely, it just tasted like an astringent acid bomb, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, you'd be surprised what works well and what doesn't even with pairing.
Oh, it's so interesting. So fun to play around. Yeah. And see.
Yeah.
For sure.
Any how are we doing? Oh, one new message, but okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's how you spell Taleggio.
You guys have a really, you know what? You guys have a really interesting history with like your origins. I think, like you were really early with Ecuador, like.
So yeah,
Colin had done it, but you know, I mean, you know,
a lot of stories that we can tell.
I know we don't want to.
But so we were the first company to make chocolate with the Peru origin because, well, we were the first company to buy beans from this origin, from Peru. And
Peru, yeah.
Because they were trying to maximize their, I guess, value of their cacao. So they were actually sending the beans off to Switzerland to be made into chocolate, and then they were trying to sell the chocolate. I don't think that was going so well. And we were begging for years to buy the beans, and eventually they agreed. Ecuador, back when it was Palau, we were almost first. We were working on trying to bring it in starting in June of like 2013, I think. And just by coincidence, not even from the same importer, Rogue released his Palau in, I think, November of 2013. And then I think 3 weeks later we released ours.
Yeah. But
I think that's close.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Huh? But it's really great to see that, you know, the craft chocolate industry, like it's working. Like a lot of these, you know, it's funny because we're relatively a young company. We've been at it for 10 years, but we're one of the older chocolate makers on the scene. And it's just great to see the evolution that a lot of these farmers, you know, they're improving the quality of cacao, they're getting a better price for their beans. And, you know, now Belize is a really popular origin that makers all want to buy. So is the Marignon, so is the Madagascar, the Camino Verde, and they're really able to, you know, to sell their beans and make a really good living. And it's just really exciting to see this evolution, that for a lot of cacao farmers, it makes it possible for them to keep going, because they can get the price up to a point where it's sustainable for them. So it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Well, I mean, you guys have been in it for long enough that you have been able to be the first, but also like leaders in like, yeah, we were the first, but it doesn't mean we're fickle. You know, I feel like there's just a lot of undercurrent of chocolate makers. Like, I just need the new thing. I don't want what everybody else has. But like, there is also the thought of like, wait a minute though. If everybody's looking for unique cacao, like it just isn't the number, it just doesn't work. You don't have a supply chain. You have to create a supply chain. You know, I mean, and that was like a lot of the conversation early on. Like, how do you source cacao? I mean, you know, everybody wants the new thing, and like, you know, samples are flying all over, and you know, the samples are different from what they're going to ship you. And I mean, you know, you need this stability, and
so the farmers, they need the stability of knowing that, you know, they can secure.
Yes, the supply chain. Yes, all the way back. Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's interesting. And so that was one of the reasons why we came up with our limited edition line, which is this is like our Trinidad bar. So we could put out smaller lots of different things. Whereas, you know, our main line, single origin, we're in it for the long haul with people. And we can still be experimental with the limited edition. But
yeah. This is, and I think it's worth talking about this a little bit for people.
Yeah. So we released this, probably a month ago. This is actually the second harvest. It's a tiny farm, the Agassa estate, and we bought the whole harvest. It was 4 bags of beans, but it's, you know, great genetics. They do a really good job. They have a lot of struggles being so small. All of the other origins we work with, it's either a large farm or a cooperative with centralized fermentation. So I feel like for these guys, they really have the small farm struggle of trying to ferment and dry the beans as best they can on the farm, you know, depending on the weather, and just working with a lot of different issues like, you know, disease that hits cacao. And so it's been great to sort of support them and ensure they can get, you know, a good price for their beans so they can keep growing cacao. So, yeah.
Awesome. Are we ready for, when this bar came out, I swear to God, when this bar came out, it was just, we do have a question. Oh, how many harvests per year do they have?
One. So, I mean, it's a tiny farm, and they only can really, I think there's only really one time a year where they can get enough beans to have a proper fermentation. Because if you don't have enough beans, you can't ferment properly. I'm sure, I mean, the cacao is going to be producing fruit year round, but it doesn't mean there's enough to get a nice solid ferment. So they might be producing some cacao on the side for themselves or locally, but it's not going to be the same quality as the main harvest, which is what this is. So this is like peak harvest. They got the 4 bags worth, fermented really well, and we buy it all. But we pay a lot for it. We pay for the exclusivity for sure.
It's really delicious. It's 80%, and it's not very, it's less on the fruity side and more on that kind of like
delicate.
And also like gut level satisfying, also because it's 80% is part of it. Like there's just this category of chocolates that some chocolates, you know, are a little bit more like, they get your brain going, and some even maybe inspire you, and some like just go right to your gut, and like, you know, that just like, like almost just delicious gut level satisfying flavors. And that's for me, this definitely goes there. I love this bar, highly recommend it. Yeah. And I love this bar too. I really love this bar. This is magic. This is one of your 2 ingredient bars, and as Robbie, as you were saying, you guys were the first in craft chocolate to get the beans. And I totally remember that. And you know, everybody was just so hot for these beans. They were.
I know they were.
I mean, there was a little bit of smoke and mirrors with, like, you know, it wasn't really, you know, it was being presented as Pure Nacional has been wiped off the face of the earth, but we found a little pocket in Peru, which, I mean, everybody was like, wow, really? Not exactly true, but it is exceptionally rare and precious. And that's the important point. Lots of white beans and dark beans. I had a ball every time I would talk about this, because there's inside one cacao pod, which, you know, like, right, is basically looking like a pod. This is a scooped out, dried pod. The beans are in here. You would see in one fruit different colored beans, and they have different flavors as well. So you get white beans and dark beans. And so all of that you're processing together. They have different flavor profiles. So I call this, I used to nickname it like the diva bean, even though it's not one bean. But because you've got this whole balancing act, it's all this just, like, you know, super, and it can go so sideways so easily with the balance of flavors in these. But when you really make it happen, it sings, you know, it's really just delicious. Yeah. So I just have tons to say about this bar. It's just so complex. I can keep returning to it over and over. And also I think it's kind of funny that, like, back when you released it, you were the only ones who got that 2013 harvest, right?
Probably.
Maybe. Yeah,
I think you were. Well, here's the point, though, because I know a bunch of chocolate makers, or some other chocolate makers that I worked with, were so excited too, and they bought 2014 and the next year's harvest. It was way more. Look, it was way more astringent. Yeah. It just was not.
Yeah. I think we struggled with that second harvest. Yeah.
So maybe a little history about this origin, at least our history. So back in March of 2010, we were down in Costa Rica, and earlier that year, or actually in 2009, Steve Davies had hooked up with the Peru guys and had made a test batch for them of this origin. And he brought those samples down to Costa Rica, and we were down there, we were doing this tasting, you know, it was 85 degrees at 10 o'clock at night, and we tasted some Costa Rica, we tasted this Peru, and at the time, I feel like this Peru was probably the best chocolate I'd ever tried,
Yeah.
At that point.
Sorry.
So we just, like, from that moment, we're obsessed with that flavor.
Yeah.
And that was 2010, and so we spent a few years just emailing and sending samples of our chocolate to this company, being like, hey, we promise we'll do a good job if you sell us beans. Mm-hmm. And actually, that's kind of what happened. We, like, sent them some bars, and they tasted it, and they're like, you know what? Your chocolate's amazing. We'll sell you some beans. That was basically the email conversation. Yeah. And so they sent us some beans. We started making the chocolate. It was a little tricky to work with that first year and the second. Yeah. And even the third. More
stringent than we were used to. And
so we developed a whole new technique of processing, which
roasting.
I feel like I could give away the secret now, but it's so long ago. So we used to
do it.
We invented this technique, like, I don't know how we did it, but we would soak the beans in water, which is insane to do that in the first place. And then we would dry them again. So we did a second drying cycle. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when you buy beans, they're dry. Yeah. And after fermentation, they dried. But we were like, well, let's get some more water in there, evaporate them again to get that astringency out. And then we were roasting. Yeah, so for like the first for the first 3 years, we had this process of soaking, evaporating, roasting. Yeah.
Maybe it has less to do with the harvest and more to do with your technique then. I mean,
that's why no one else had Peru that tasted like ours for the first 3 years.
Secret's out now.
The secret's out.
But we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And also, I think they've changed.
Yeah, they've
improved.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot better in processing.
Yeah, they had to do a lot. When we went and visited them, they did a lot with their drying stage. They did kind of like a pre-dry. Because if you dry too fast, it forms a shell over the bean, and then a lot of those acids and tannins are locked in. So they had to kind of do a lighter pre-dry, and so they worked through it. But again, it was like we were in it for the long haul with them. So we would get a harvest of beans. We were like, this is tricky, but you just try to come up with methods to work around it, because we really believed in them and what they were doing and the genetics they were working with.
And so this is probably, this bean too, it's probably the most hyped origin there is, because they've done a really good job with PR. This is the origin where Anthony Bourdain traveled down.
Oh, yeah.
He did a show on it.
What's his unknown?
Parts Unknown.
Parts Unknown.
Yeah. It's been in the New York Times. It's been in lots of big publications as like this rare, wild origin of like albino cacao, which is true. And they've done a good job of promoting it and getting some hype. And for a while there was a bar out there of the same origin being sold for $20 a bar, and ours was way better at the time. And we were,
nice to have a laugh.
We were selling it for like $9, I think.
Oh, totally. Well, I mean, really. Okay, I'll tell you a little story about Toac, because we're really talking about Pure Nacional, right? This is the varietal of cacao that we're talking about. Although it's more complicated than that, but really that's the jam, right? So Toac also was like, we found this really rare cacao, and this was part of actually what kind of blew the doors off of like, no, there still is Nacional in Ecuador. Okay, so the story, I guess I'm diving into the story here backwards. Ecuador 100 years ago was a major producer of fine cacao, and their varietal was Pure Nacional. But some fungal diseases came through and wiped it out almost entirely in Ecuador. So they had to work on hybridization and producing other cacaos that to bring their industry back to life, and that took a long time. So really now Nacional isn't for the most part isn't what they say. But anyway, so this Toac bar was like, we found Pure Nacional, and by the way, this had just been, the Pure Nacional bar. So I actually got a chance to taste the Toac bar. The point being, the Toac bar was $260. And I actually had some feedback that I posted. The bar was broken. Can you imagine paying $260 for a bar, and it was in this wooden box fortress? It was broken. Anyways, I ended up meeting with Jerry of Toac, one of the founders of Toac, and I brought one of your bars to the table, because it was kind of making that point of like, why is this bar, like, I can buy 20 or whatever it was, 25 ritual bars, or I can buy one of yours, and let's taste.
I feel like it's kind of brilliant what they've done, because they're marketing their chocolate in a different way, and it's like, well, who's to say what the price point is? I mean, obviously we base our pricing very much off our costs, and we want to make it as approachable price-wise as we can. So even though it is a $10 bar, oftentimes that's as low as we can get it. But then at the same time, when you think of wine and other industries, it's like, well, if someone wants to give it a go and try and price high,
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I love that they did. I love that exists, just to kind of really, because I mean, for the longest time, it was nobody will pay $20 for a chocolate. That was Colin's favorite, Colin Gasco of Rogue, who was the first guy that everybody thought should be making $20 chocolate bars, and he was just like, nope, nobody will buy a $20 chocolate bar. But when and this kind of was almost practically a response. I remember the timing of it. I was like, oh, there you go. $20 bars are not a big deal anymore, with that, which I think it's really important, so as much as I don't know, Toac, lots of stories to tell there, but like, in interesting stories, and but I'm glad that exists.
Yeah.
So it actually is supportive.
Yeah.
It's supportive of everybody else's raising their price point, which is really important, because you guys have all been pricing on cost, because there's this whole feeling of who's going to pay more than $5 for a chocolate bar, right?
And we always say what's great about chocolate is you can try some of the best chocolate in the world for $2. I mean, there's so few industries where you can, buy the best product out there for that amount. So I feel like that's what's really special, is everyone can afford that.
Yeah, I sometimes refer to it as the world's most affordable luxury.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But anyway, just on a side note with the pairings again, I love to pair the Peru with a really peaty Scotch. So I actually poured us a little bit of Scotch. I don't know if you guys are whiskey drinkers, but I love a peaty Islay Scotch. So it's just nice with the smooth texture of the Peru. I really like it with whiskey. So
since I think, well, I put a little stash for the tail end of this, and since we're there, and since you brought it up, I think yes, that's how I roll too. I like any kind of usually the whiskeys for me are what I pair with. If I'm being kind of more purist style, I'll go with like this chamomile tea, or if I want to cleanse the palate, warm water is really good. Or some people like bubble water, or even a little squeeze of lemon.
Mm-hmm.
This is some good chocolate, by the way.
I know, I do love the Peru.
I just had a bite. It always surprises me.
They're like, yeah, hey, this isn't bad here.
I actually, at this point, I used to eat chocolate all day, every day.
Yeah, we did.
Because we were in the factory all day. Yeah. Sometimes we'd be working till midnight or 2 in the morning, and all the restaurants are closed, and we're starving, so all we could eat was chocolate. This is true stories.
Chocolate factory.
But now we're not in the factory as much. So I don't actually eat it as much as I used to. But so when I do try it, I'm like, wow, that really is pretty good.
I know, it's nice to know. I had a concern at the beginning. I was like, are we just going to get sick of chocolate after like a year? But as it turns out, that hasn't happened. So
I'm the same way. People are like, do you eat chocolate every day? I'm like, yeah. I can't think of a day when I don't. Yep. Yeah.
That Peru is really smooth, 2-ingredient. Yeah, it's kind of nutty. I don't even know how you describe that fruit flavor.
I call it sort of like a stone fruit, almost like an apricot.
I agreed with that. Yeah, like I remember when I was trying to sort it all out too. I like the stone fruit. I was like, sometimes I kind of be like, oh, maybe it's peachy or something. But
I also get like a marshmallowiness out of it.
I was about to say marshmallow, totally. Like, in fact, like I was tasting this the other day, and I was like, I wonder how clean the conch was when after they made the
No. I mean, it's always
on the back, anyways. It wouldn't even be a thing. But like, yeah, I totally taste the marshmallows in this. I think and I don't think I remember that from your original. I just feel like this is really distinct in.
Oh, I've always gotten like almost an oaked flavor from the Peru.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like that marshmallow, nougat sort of, like an oaked whiskey flavor almost. Anyway.
Yeah, really good.
Since we're kind of talking, and I forgot the poll question of what's your favorite. If anybody want to type in their, let's start in the chat with typing in your favorites. If you have one, like if you're like, what? If you're like me, I would say they're like children. You'll love them for different reasons. And also you're not allowed to say the favorite. But if you're down with sharing your favorite.
I think we have a question down there.
And questions, absolutely.
Len has a question.
And unmute yourself. Let's hear it.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Try it.
There it is.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't have a question so much as a comment.
Oh.
When Sheldon turned 75, we had a birthday party for him. And everybody at the birthday party got your chocolate. Now, he doesn't want me to open it because I wrapped it, but it's your Madagascar.
Whoa.
And we had 45 people at the party, and everybody got a really good bar of chocolate.
Wrapped in your own packaging.
Yeah, I just put this around because it was a surprise.
Cool.
I worked on this. I was having chemo and I had nothing else to do while stuff was going in. So this was his birthday present and everybody else's. So I thought you would want to know. And you can see at the bottom it says bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah. That's what our Madagascar used to say.
Yes. So anyway, that was 5 years ago. Unfortunately, it's hard to get an 80% that everybody will like.
Yeah.
75 would be perfect. But anyway,
that's amazing.
Yeah. So I wanted to show you because this is so special.
Yeah, that's really special.
He didn't want me to. He didn't want. It had a picture of him. He didn't want me to unwrap it to show you it really was your
No,
bar,
it's
but
special. Well, thank you.
That's really cool.
That's
thank you. That was the best present. Everybody loved it.
Well, yeah, thank you
that's
for sharing
great.
that.
Gosh.
That's so cool.
That makes it
Love
like
that story.
makes me feel like that's everything we do. Kind of makes it worthwhile when we hear people say that. Just appreciating it, having those special moments. So thank you.
That is so one of those moments. That really is. And like, yeah, it gives. I think we all got the warm and fuzzies there.
Oh,
No.
yeah. Well, thank you.
Oh,
Ellen, you look like you're.
Can I ask a few questions?
yeah.
Hi, I'm in New York City. I too eat chocolate every day. I have 3 questions. One is, are you able to like identify a difference in taste between the same bar, 2 batches in a row? Like if I happen to have like a Mexican 3 and a 4 here,
Ooh.
and I'm just wondering, like, do you do tasting notes after every batch?
We wouldn't do tasting notes per se after every batch, but you can kind of like taste as you go, and we'll taste the roast, and then we'll do the refining and taste after refining in the 3-roll mill, and then after it's conched for 3 days, then we'll do a little bit of a tasting, and it's a little bit less about comparing side by side and more about just like looking back at, okay, what do we taste in this batch and how did we make this batch? And if for some reason we feel like, oh, it's not fruity enough, or oh, it's too roasty, we can go back and look at the process and decide if we want to tweak something a little bit. So like I said, less of a side by side and more like comparing the final flavor with the process that led up to that flavor.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The other 2 questions are in your cacao nibs that you sell. Do you tend to gravitate towards using a certain origin?
Yeah, we only sell Peru bean or nibs.
Ooh, I'm gonna try them.
Seriously,
They're the prettiest nibs because they're that light color.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And do they taste very fudgy?
No, they're nutty, more nutty.
Yeah.
Nutty? Okay.
Nice. Sort of
what are you using on your nib bar these days?
Peru nibs.
Peru, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that is the Peru. Okay.
Yeah, we always
But the base is, wait, originally it was Madagascar nib, and
now it's
we used chocolate.
Yeah, mid-mountain base, Peru nibs.
Yeah.
And my last question is, would you ever consider like selling not just bars, but chocolate for baking, like big pastels or?
Yeah, we thought about it a lot. And the best way to do it, I mean, we've actually been talking about even putting together kind of like a home baker's kit. We could do like a 1 kilogram block, but then also we love the idea of doing chips.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Yeah, they're easy to dose. They're easy to sort of add to different things, but we need to buy a machine.
So this is a good segue into a bit of an announcement. So right now our entire factory is in maybe 2,000 square feet.
Wow.
Just any,
Teeny.
and then we have our cafe, which is like maybe 1,000 square feet. We're actually right in the process of building a new factory right outside of town. So we're about to go from like 2,000 square feet to like, I don't know, 10,000 square feet.
I know. It's going to feel...
And the reason we're doing that is because we want to be able to make chocolate chips. We want to be able to make blocks. We want to be able to make chocolate covered anything, almonds, whatever.
And just
to have the space to make whatever we can dream of. And so, in the next 6 to 12 months, look out for some new things from us.
You have the space. You found the space? Sorry.
We're actually working with a builder to build a new building. Yeah. It's huge.
Sorry, did we not tell you that?
I think, no, actually it's sounding familiar now, but like maybe it was like sort of in the,
in a busy few months.
Yeah. Well, that means I have to come visit you because I want to see the old and the new.
Oh, you do? Oh my gosh, because there'll be somewhat of an overlap, but yeah. You
All
should
right.
come.
So
Come out.
we begin moving into the new building August 1st.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then it'll be open for production and everything September 1st.
We're so excited.
Yeah.
But related to your question, Helen, I wanted to say that Ritual has a full line of drinking chocolates. And the drinking chocolates are really untempered, shredded. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, you know what I mean? It's just untempered chocolate, and you could use it. It's not chips for like chocolate chip cookies, but I always kind of point people to the drinking chocolates.
Yeah. Oh, so I could melt them. I could melt them and make a ganache and things.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. That's what we recommend, and that's what we
tell
to chefs and things is the grated. So it's it's not tempered, but it's fantastic because it's easy to work with. That's what we use for all our drinks in our cafe.
Okay.
And it's it's cheaper than melting down a bar. Yeah. So that's one to go for. So yeah.
Yeah. That's
thank you.
Affordable way to use our chocolate to cook.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, good. Glad the tip was helpful. I feel like I was going to say something else about that, but I can't remember. I know. Well, the interesting thing about Ritual Chocolate is that actually you guys are really, really, you have a big footprint in the coffee world, really.
Yeah.
Like most of your chocolate goes to coffee shops. Like you sell more chocolate to coffee shops than you do in bar form, is what you told me, and it blew my mind years ago.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we love the coffee culture, coffee shops, just that it just feels very community-based, on local level, people going to coffee houses, and we've just loved being a part of it. And we feel that people that are into specialty coffee really kind of understand what we're doing. And so we sell a lot of bulk chocolate to different coffee shops for them to make drinks like mochas, hot chocolates. And so that's just been a really fun thing. And we've sort of focused more on selling to coffee shops in the last few years, really. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, that's amazing. That's really interesting. That's super cool. So do we have any questions? Anybody?
I saw someone say that could we talk more about the monthly club?
Yeah.
So that's actually on our website. You can buy our subscription box, which you can buy either monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly, because it is a lot of chocolate. It's a $50 box with free shipping, and it's a $60 value, so it's already pretty good. And every month we have a different theme, and it's been really fun. So sometimes it could be a pairing theme, or sometimes it's focused on the season. For new product launches, we'll get that first. So we'll have like a variety of bars and then a few other fun things. So it's just a great way for us to be able to like send chocolate to your door. We put in a newsletter just telling you a little bit about what we're excited about at the moment and what we're feeling inspired by. So it's just like a really fun kind of curated experience. So yeah.
Sounds so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. I think we're I think our happy hour is rolling to I wanted to roll into a close here, but I wanted to a lot of people, I think you guys already know the drill on chocolate storage. Keep it cool, keep it dry. And keep it consistent. Cool, dry, and consistent.
Yeah.
What's that?
Don't take it in and out of the fridge.
Oh yeah.
If you can store it somewhere that's like, that's always 65 degrees, then keep it there.
Mm-hmm. Wine, like your wine, or not like your chilled wine, obviously, your cold wine, but.
We're happy to answer any questions.
Yeah.
It could be,
anything.
Totally.
It could be personal. It could be
anything at all.
Anything you want.
But,
and what else? Yeah, and also, if you guys some of you guys are repeat offenders, which I love. If you guys are into this, I'm working on. I'm not doing them weekly, but I think I'm going to start doing these monthly with other chocolate makers on the Bar Cacao marketplace, my partners. I don't even think, did I even say that you guys were my first partners?
You said that somewhere.
I know.
Yeah, no, totally. It's all your fault. Totally is. I mean, really, like you sent me, I shared a link with you guys, but yeah, I don't know. Somehow we chatted, and you also, my first blog post was about ritual. And you guys all did get an email. There's a link to reading it there. But, you know, it was really kind of because of you. I had already been infatuated for 5 years. This was around 2012. And I kind of got in, became obsessed in 2007. But never wanted to get into business with it. But it was really that kind of like, part of it was your chocolate, and part of it was you guys, honestly. You know, I thought like, these are just really great human beings that, you know, have their heads in such a good place about sourcing, about chocolate making, about wellness, about all these things, and just are just good people. So it was really kind of it was the tipping point. So that's why, you know, our partnership to me is really special. Definitely really special. And we've been, you know, it's been going strong for all these years, you know?
Yeah, it's great. And, you know, back at you, I mean, I feel like, you know, what we've loved, and, you know, we've been at this for 10 years, and we realize every year that it's really, we do this, I mean, obviously it's about the chocolate, but really it's about the people. And, you know, so many people in the chocolate community, from enthusiasts to everyone, to the farmers, to, it's just a wonderful community to be in, and everyone's just really, you know, passionate and caring, and we're all trying to kind of bring craft chocolate and really good quality chocolate to the world and share it with people. Because that was what kind of inspired us in the beginning, was when we tried really good quality chocolate, we were like, why can't you buy this in the grocery store? How is this not available to people? We started researching, and we were in Colorado at the time, and I mean, you just really couldn't get single origin chocolate. And so that was kind of, we were like, you know, what does it take to make chocolate like this? How can we do it? How can we share it? We were just so passionate, and it's just really fun to be able to be a part of it. And, you know, we couldn't do what we do without all of you. So it means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and that's like good cheers, toast to you guys. For supporting this, what you guys are doing here and now. This is the magic. This is the important part. You know, I mean, this is the support. Yeah. Like how much better does it get to support in this way? You know.
Absolutely, and it's just, you know, taking the time. It means so much to us. Just taking the time to kind of learn about what we do, and you know, a lot of it I think is also just developing your palate, kind of like wine tasting things, and it just takes time. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no, and I like that you said, why can't we get this in grocery stores? Because that was kind of what occurred to me, and that's kind of what started me going with brokering. I'm like, I think I know some places, and that was really all it took. You know, I was like, I think I got some places for you guys to be in, and that's all it took, and it's been going since then. And if you want to find good places to shop, the Bar Cacao Marketplace has some really great shops, including one shop that ships nationwide. Most of them are in LA and San Francisco areas. Well, I really I see people looking. Oh, question, and I'm going to say Genevieve.
Yes, Genevieve. Just one question. Do you export any of your bars to Europe?
What country?
Belgium, Holland, and Sweden.
Oh, wow.
Through the High Five company.
Yeah, there's a company in Amsterdam.
Have you heard of them?
High Five?
Sure.
So we work with them, and
also Cocoa Runners in the UK, and I think they ship to Europe, I believe.
But High Five definitely has us in a few shops around Europe. Yeah.
So we're not out there as much as we'd like to be, but we try. So.
Is that where you are?
Yeah.
No, I'm in New York, but all my family and friends are.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, this actually is the third of the Meet Your Maker series, and wrapping up with my first partnership for now until the next one. It's been really, really a joy and a pleasure. If any of you have, if you want to watch this again, or if you missed the other ones, they're going to YouTube. You go to barcacao.com/events and you can find the information there to watch on your own time. I don't know exactly how to thank you guys for this really incredible partnership that has just, you know, allowed me to end up building community and exploring craft chocolate for all of these years and some of the best chocolate on earth. So I thank you guys, Anna and Robbie, for making the chocolate, and I really thank you guys for participating and, as I say, playing my game. You know, there's nothing better than sharing chocolate with other people in my eyes. So thanks to everybody for joining us.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think that's a wrap. Cheers, happy chocolate tasting to everyone. Happy chocolate making, Anna and Robbie.
Cheers, and thank you, everybody. Enjoy.
Right,
Come and visit us in Utah.
Yep.
All right, will do. Sounds good.
Bye.
All right, happy chocolate tasting, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks, Jessica.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much.